Welcome to Global Bible Reading. 2 Kings chapter 16. Ahaz the son of Jotham became king of Judah during the 17th year that Pekah son of Remaliah was king of Israel. Ahaz was 20 years old when he became king. Ahaz ruled 16 years in Jerusalem. Ahaz did not do the things the Lord said were right. He did not obey God like his ancestor David. Ahaz lived like the kings of Israel. He even sacrificed his son in fire. He copied the terrible sins of the nations that the Lord forced to leave the country. And that time the Israelites came. Ahaz made sacrifices and burned incense at that high places and on the hills under every green tree. Rezin king of Aram and Pekah son of Remaliah king of Israel came to fight against Jerusalem. Rezin and Pekah surrounded Ahaz, but could not defeat him. At that time Rezin king of Aram took back Elad for Aram. Rezin took all the people of Judah that were living in Elah. The Arameans settled in Elad, and they still live there today. Ahaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser, the king of Assyria. The message was, "I am your servant. I am like a son to you. Come and save me from the king of Aram and the king of Israel. They have come to fight me." Ahaz also took the silver and gold that was in the temple of the Lord and in the treasuries of the king's house. Then Ahaz sent a gift to the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria listened to Ahaz. The king of Assyria went to fight against Damascus. The king captured that city and took the people from Damascus as prisoners to Tyre. He also killed Rezin. King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria. Ahaz saw the altar at Damascus. King Ahaz sent a model and pattern of this altar to Uriah the priest. The Uriah the priest built an altar just like the model King Ahaz had sent him from Damascus. Uriah the priest built the altar this way before King Ahaz came back from Damascus. When the king arrived from Damascus, he saw the altar. He offered sacrifices on the altar. On the altar, Ahaz burned his burnt offerings and grain offerings. He poured his drink offerings and sprinkled the blood of his fellowship offerings on the altar. Ahaz took the bronze altar that was before the Lord from the front of the temple. This bronze altar was between Ahaz's altar and the temple of the Lord. Ahaz put the bronze altar on the north side of his own altar. Ahaz gave command to Uriah the priest. He said, "Use the large altar to burn the morning burnt offerings, the evening grain offerings, and the drink offerings from all the people of this country. Sprinkle all the blood from the burnt offerings and other sacrifices on the large altar. But I will use the bronze altar to ask questions from God." Uriah the priest did everything that King Ahaz commanded him to do. There were cords and bronze panels and basins for the priests to wash their hands. King Ahaz removed the panels and basins and cut up the cords. He also took the large stang of the bronze bulls that stood under it. He put the large stang on a stone pavement. Workers had built a covered place inside the temple area for the Sabbath meetings. But Ahaz took away that covered place. Ahaz also took away the outside entrance for the king. Ahaz took all of these from the Lord's temple. Ahaz did this because of the king of Assyria. All the great things that Ahaz did are written in the book, The History of the Kings of Judah. Ahaz died and was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. Ahaz's son Hezekiah became the new king after him. Chapter 17. Hosea son of Elah began to rule in Samaria over Israel. This was during the 12th year that Ahaz was king of Judah. Hosea ruled 9 years. Hosea did the things the Lord said were wrong. But Hosea was not as bad as the kings of Israel that ruled before him. Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, came to fight against Hosea. Shalmaneser defeated Hosea, and Hosea became his servant. So Hosea paid tribute to Shalmaneser. Later Hosea sent messengers to the king of Egypt to ask for help. That king's name was So. That year Hosea did not pay tribute to the king of Assyria like he did every other year. The king of Assyria learned that Hosea had made plans against him. So the king of Assyria arrested Hosea and put him in jail. The king of Assyria attacked many places in Israel. Then he came to Samaria. He fought against Samaria for 3 years. The king of Assyria took Samaria during the 9 years that Hosea was king of Israel. The king of Assyria captured many Israelites and took them as prisoners to Assyria. He made them live in Halah by the Heber river at Gazon and in other cities of the Medes. These things happened because the Israelites had sinned against the Lord their God. And it was the Lord that brought the Israelites out of the land of Egypt. The Lord saved them from the power of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. But the Israelites began worshipping other gods. They began doing the same things that other people did. And the Lord had forced those people to leave their land when the Israelites came. The Israelites also chose to be ruled by kings, not by God. The Israelites secretly did things against the Lord their God, and those things were wrong. The Israelites built high places in all their cities, from the smallest town to the largest city. The Israelites put up memorial stones and Asherah poles and every high hill and under every green tree. The Israelites burned incense there in all those places of worship. They did these things like the nations the Lord forced out of the land before them. The Israelites did evil things that made the Lord angry. They served idols, and the Lord had said to the Israelites, "You must not do this thing." The Lord used every prophet and every seer to warn Israel and Judah. The Lord said, "Turn away from the evil things you do. Obey my commands and laws. Follow all the law that I gave to your ancestors. I used my servants, the prophets, to give this law to you." But the people would not listen. They were very stubborn, like their ancestors. Their ancestors did not believe the Lord their God. The people refused the Lord's laws and his agreement that he made with their ancestors. They refused to listen to the Lord's warnings. They worshiped idols that were worth nothing, and they themselves become worth nothing. They lived like the people in the nations around them. They did those bad things. And the Lord had warned the people of Israel. The Lord told them, not to do those bad things. The people stopped following the commands of the Lord their God. They made two gold statues of calves. They made Asherah poles. They worshiped all the stars of heaven and served Baal. They sacrificed their sons and daughters in the fire. They used magic and witchcraft to try to learn the future. They sold themselves to do what the Lord said was evil. They did this to make the Lord angry. So the Lord became very angry at Israel and took them out of his sight. There were no Israelites left except the family group of Judah. But even the people of Judah did not obey the commands of the Lord their God. The people of Judah lived just like the people of Israel. The Lord rejected all the people of Israel. He brought them many troubles. He let people destroy them. And finally, he threw them away and put them out of his sight. The Lord tore Israel from the family of David, and the Israelites made Jeroboam son of Nebat their king. Jeroboam pulled the Israelites away from following the Lord. Jeroboam caused the Israelites to do a great sin. So the Israelites followed all the sins that Jeroboam did. They did not stop doing these sins until the Lord took Israel away from his side. And the Lord said this would happen. He sent his prophets to tell the people this would happen. So the Israelites were taken out of their country into Assyria, and they have been there to this day. The king of Assyria took the Israelites out of Samaria. Then the king of Assyria brought people from Babylon, Gutha, Avva, Hamad, and Sepharvaim. He put those people in Samaria. Those people took over Samaria and lived in the cities around it. When these people began to live in Samaria, they did not honor the Lord. So the Lord sent lions to attack them. These lions killed some of those people. Some people said to the king of Assyria, "Those people that you took away and put in the cities of Samaria do not know the law of the God of that country." So that God sent lions to attack those people. The lions killed those people because those people don't know the law of the God of that country. So the king of Assyria gave this command: "You took some priests from Samaria. Send one of those priests that I captured back to Samaria. Let that priest go and live there. Then that priest can teach the people the law of the God of that country." So one of the priests that the Assyrians had carried away from Samaria came to live in Bethel. This priest taught the people how they should honor the Lord. But all those people made gods of their own and put them in the temples at the high places the Samaritans had made. Those people did this wherever they lived. The people of Babylon made the false god Sakut Benot. The people of Gutha made the false god Nergal. The people of Hamad made the false god Ashima. The people of Ava made the false gods Nibas and Tartak. And the people from Sepharvaim burned their children in the fire to honor their false gods, Adramelech and Anamelech. But those people also worship the Lord. They choose priests for the high places from among the people. These priests made sacrifices for the people in the temples at those places of worship. They respected the Lord, but they also served their own gods. Those people served their gods the same as they did in the countries they were taken from. Even today, those people live like they did in the past. They do not honor the Lord. They do not obey the rules and commands of the Israelites. They do not obey the law or the commands that the Lord gave to the children of Jacob, Israel. The Lord made an agreement with the people of Israel. The Lord commanded them, "You must not honor other gods. You must not worship them or serve them and offer sacrifice to them. But you must follow the Lord. The Lord is the God that brought you out of Egypt. The Lord used this great power to save you. You must worship the Lord and make sacrifices to Him. You must obey the rules, laws, teachings, and commands that He wrote for you. You must obey these things all the time. You must not respect other gods. You must not forget the agreement that I made with you. You must not respect other gods. No, you respect only the Lord your God. Then He will save you from all your enemies." But the Israelites did not listen. They kept on doing the same things they did before. So now those other nations respect the Lord, but they also serve their own idols. Their children or grandchildren do the same thing their ancestors did. They still do those things to this day. Chapter 18. Hezekiah son of Ahaz was king of Judah. Hezekiah began to rule during the 3rd year that Hosea son of Elah was the king of Israel. Hezekiah was 25 years old when he began to rule. Hezekiah ruled 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. Hezekiah did the things the Lord said were right, just like David his ancestor. Hezekiah destroyed high places. He broke the memorial stones and cut down the Asherah poles. At that time, the people of Israel burned incense to the bronze snake made by Moses. This bronze snake was called Nashutan. Hezekiah broke this bronze snake into pieces because the people were worshipping the snake. Hezekiah trusted in the Lord God of Israel. There was no person like Hezekiah among all the kings of Judah before him or after him. Hezekiah was very faithful to the Lord. He did not stop following the Lord. He obeyed the commands that the Lord had given to Moses. The Lord was with Hezekiah. Hezekiah was successful in everything he did. Hezekiah broke away from the king of Assyria. Hezekiah stopped serving the king of Assyria. Hezekiah defeated the Philistines all the way to Gaza and the area around it. He defeated all the Philistine cities, from the smallest town to the largest city. Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, went to fight against Samaria. His army surrounded the city. This happened during the 4th year that Hezekiah was king of Judah. This was also the 7th year that Hosea son of Elah was king of Israel. At the end of the 3rd year, Shalmaneser captured Samaria. He took Samaria during the 6th year that Hezekiah was king of Judah. This was also the 9th year that Hosea was king of Israel. The king of Assyria took the Israelites as prisoners to Assyria. He made them live in Halah. on the Habor, the river of Gorgon, and in the city of the Medes. This happened because the Israelites did not obey the Lord their God. They broke the Lord's agreement. They did not obey all the things that Moses, the Lord's servant, commanded. The people of Israel would not listen to the Lord's agreement or do the things it taught to them to do so. During the 14th year that Hezekiah was king, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, went to fight against all the strong cities of Judah. Sennacherib defeated all those cities. The Hezekiah, king of Judah, sent message to the king of Assyria at Lachish. Hezekiah said, I have done wrong. Leave me alone. Then I will pay anything you want. Then the king of Assyria told Hezekiah, king of Judah, to pay over 11 tons of silver and over 1 ton of gold. Hezekiah gave all the silver that was in the Lord's temple and in the king's treasuries. At this time, Hezekiah cut up the gold that covered the doors of the Lord's temple and the doorposts. King Hezekiah had put gold on those doors and doorposts. Hezekiah gave this gold to the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria sent his 3 most important commanders with a large army to King Hezekiah in Jerusalem. Those men left Lachish and went to Jerusalem. They stood near the aqueduct by the upper pool. The upper pool is on the road to the washer's field. These men called for the king, Eliakim, son of Hilkiah. Eliakim was in charge of the king's house. Shebna, the secretary, and Joab, son of Asaph, the second keeper, came out to meet them. One of the commanders said to them, Tell Hezekiah, this is what the great king, the king of Assyria, says. What do you trust in? Your words are worth nothing. You said, I have enough advice and power to help me in war. But what do you trust since you have broken away from my rule? You are leaning on a walking stick made of broken reed. This walking stick is Egypt. If a man leans on this walking stick, it will break and go through his hand and harm him. The king of Egypt is like that to all people that trust in him. Maybe you will say, We trust the Lord our God. But I know that Hezekiah took away the high places and altars where people worship the Lord. And Hezekiah told the people of Judah and Jerusalem, You must worship only in front of the altar here in Jerusalem. Now make this agreement with my master, the king of Assyria. I promise that I will give you 2,000 horses, if you can find them to ride them. You cannot defeat one officer of the lowest of my master's officers. You depend on Egypt to give you chariots and horse soldiers. I have not come against Jerusalem to destroy it without the Lord. The Lord said to me, Go up against this country and destroy it. Then Eliakim, son of Hilkiah, Shebna, and Joah said to the commander, Please speak to us in Aramaic. We understand that language. Do not speak with us in the language of Judah, because the people on the wall can hear us. But Rabsakiah said to them, My Lord did not send me to speak only to you and your king. I also speak to the other people that sit on the wall. They will eat their own dung and drink their own urine with you. Then the commander shouted loudly in the Jewish language, "Hear this message from the great king, the king of Assyria. The king says, don't let Hezekiah fool you. He cannot save you from my power. Don't let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord. Hezekiah says, the Lord will save us. The king of Assyria will not defeat this city. But don't listen to Hezekiah. The king of Assyria says this, make peace with me and come out to me. Then each of you can eat from his own grapes, his own fig tree, and drink water from his own well. You can do this until I come and take you away to a land like your own land. It is a land of grain and new wine, a land of bread and fields full of grapes, a land of olives and honey. Then you can live and not die. But don't listen to Hezekiah. He is trying to change your mind. He is saying, the Lord will save us. Did any of the gods of the other nations save his land from the king of Assyria? No. Where are the gods of Hamath and Apar? Where are the gods of Sepharim, Hannah, and Irva? Did they save Samaria from me? No. Did any of the gods in the other countries save their land from me? No. Can the Lord save Jerusalem from me? No. But the people were silent. They did not say a word to the commander because King Hezekiah had given them a command. He said, don't say anything to him. Eliakim, son of Hilkiah, Eliakim was in charge of the king's house. Zephaniah, the secretary, and Joah, son of Asaph, the record keeper, came to Hezekiah. Their clothes were torn to show they were upset. They told Hezekiah the things that the Assyrian commander had said.